So I'm Susanna Bowen from Campion, and just letting you know that we are recording today. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I'm here in the country of the Kaurna people, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples who are here today. So this webinar has been put together by Campion Education to share understanding of latest digital and technical tools. So thanks to all the presenters today in advance. As a bit of housekeeping, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A and I will act as moderator. Hopefully we'll get to your questions during the presentations. If not, we will capture them and follow up after the webinar. So for today's session, we've invited leading content producers to talk about what's new and what's having impact in EdTech. This session focuses on years 7 to 10. I wanted to let you know that tomorrow we have a webinar that's specifically on MyConnect 2, designed for users. And on Thursday, we have a similar webinar to this one with a focus on EdTech tools for years 11 and 12. So if you're interested in either of those, let me know, pop your name in the chat or the Q&A and we'll sort it out. And first up, I'd like to introduce Paul Seil. Paul is our Senior eLearning Specialist from Campion, and Paul's going to take us through a little bit about MyConnect.
Thank you, Susanna. So I'll jump in and share screens. Hopefully this is all good at your end. Righto. Okay, so firstly, talking about digital, the three most common challenges, if you like, when talking to schools is, here's some of the following. So schools talk about product activation and account creation. You know, the challenges that ensures with students, parents, and attempting to set up digital resources with access codes. Then it's access, remembering usernames, passwords, and the like, and multiple locations, one publisher for their math resource, one publisher for their science, and so forth. So what we try to do is have three solutions to solve these most common challenges within schools. First one we call provisioning, and that's where we're managing all the student and teacher account creation and product activation on behalf of students and teachers. So there's no more Gmail, Hotmail, mum or dad's email address, whatever gets caught up in there. It's all school proven data. And then, of course, with access, so to eliminate some of those extra usernames and password challenges, we have SSO to integrate and eliminate those password issues. And rather than having multiple locations to go for it to multiple different resources, it's we use our MyConnect platform as a content aggregator. And best of all, there is no additional charge for any of these services and or solutions. Right, so I'm going to just swap screens and jump into... Here I am. So if I was a student or teacher and I've just logged in for the first time to Campion MyConnect 2, you're first presented with a tour guide. It's a little brief tour guide, but it goes through all the products, tools, and a brief description on how to use the product. Now, considering I'll be your tour guide today, I'll skip past that. You will see that pop up throughout. And a little handy hint, if you ever want to, or you have students that want to go through the tour guide again, because we know often people just close it, you can go to your profile and you can hit the reset tours button for it to begin again. Now, as you can see, this is a Campion branded page. We've got our logo at the top, we've got our background, and we've also got a color scheme here. So schools can opt to choose to put their own logo and background and color scheme throughout, with the idea there keeping students and teachers within the school environment rather than looking like another application or product it is to get to. Now, as you can see, I am as a teacher account, so I have a lot of resources here. So there are ways that we can filter that as well. So in the top right-hand corner here, these are probably the most common filter tools. We've got alphabetical, or we flip it over to subjects. Now we can search by a subject. Now the most common would be favorites. Now this is because teachers are often more often than not, provisioned with all the resources or all available resources from a school's resource list or book hire list. So often the teachers don't need all those resources, so they're just going to pick the ones that they want. So when they get in, you're just going to see your favorite screen, and this is what you will be presented with at that time. Now, in the bottom right-hand corner here, there is a little chat icon. So this is staffed, little chat support area, but we also have built in a FAQ area for common questions and answers, and an articles area as well. So for a bit of a level 1 help desk and or support throughout the product. Okay, so if you are a teacher and considering the time of year it is at the moment, looking at new curriculum or to change products, we have Campion built in a trial feature several years ago. It was a really great initiative from a lot of feedback that we got from schools. And really, this is about exposure, to try to give extra access for your teachers, especially when making new selections, if there is a curriculum change or you want to change resources. An opportunity to see what is out there. And a really key area there is we're also getting the page proofs from publishers as well. So we can get products before they're published into your staff's teachers' hands, so they can actually review resources nice and early. Okay, so there are some extra bells and whistles and features around this bookshelf as well. So I'll head to the admin portal. Now I've got a few more tools than most, but fundamentally there'll be a My Content area. So if you're a teacher and you have additional resources, or this could be a mission statement or something that you want to send out to a student, 5 students, the whole school, whatever that might look like, you can create in this example product, and then we can allocate that. We can either select users throughout the school, or if you know who you want to send that to, very easily, and I can find that person and send it straight through. Instantly, that resource will appear on my bookshelf, and it's moderated by you, the person that actually delegated it or put it onto other people's accounts. Going back to the bookshelf here. Now, the whole goal of the MyConnect platform is simplicity. It's get in, get going. Where do you need to go? Now, depending on how you operate in your classroom, whether you have a split classroom, textbooks and online, which is where it's quite common to have access with some students that might have a PDF access rather than or use a textbook. Now, you can see our tour guide, but we'll skip that. So when you do select a resource, you are presented with two options here. We're either going into the publisher's online portal, fortunately by a single sign-on, so there's no need to actually log in again with another username and password, or we're going to look at the fundamentally what the PDF is, and this is where we're trying to add value to what is fundamentally a very flat product. And there's our little tour guide again. As you can see, it's already loaded, and I'm on page 61 or 62 because this will remember what page you were last on. It does synchronize all your annotations and notes in the cloud. So if a student says that their dog ate their laptop, they're not going to lose any of their annotations, and they can log in on another device to access their resources. So moving over to the top right hand side here, we've got settings. Now I know I'm going through this quite quick, but we are limited on time, so I will be doing this pretty quick, but we'll of course go into more detail at a later date. Now on the right hand side, we've got settings. The most common one used here is probably the light or dark mode. Moving into navigation, so for ease of use, you can see here on the right hand side, we've got all the contents, all bookmarks, very easily accessible. Now, hopefully this resonates and you can see this at your end, but when I click on a page, you can see how snappy that is and how quickly it gets to from page to page. Okay, so where we've added extra bells and whistles is kind of the annotations area. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see that there's an annotations pane, and there's probably 5 different types of annotations here. So the first one, when I click on this, it's going to jump me straight to it. As you can see here, I've highlighted a piece of text. And what it's done is it's taken that piece of text, put it in sort of a purple, grabbed it over here, thrown it on the right-hand side, and you can see the text reflects what I've highlighted here. But a real key area, and it's really a value tip, if you like, for your students in particular, but also for teachers, is to use keywords for your annotations, because over time, as the year goes on, and there's 10 annotations, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever that number ends up being in just one resource, they kind of get lost. So adding shortcuts or keywords will make that much easier to keep them valid and usable throughout the classroom. So you can see I've written geo concepts and homework here, and do more research on this chapter and complete questions on page 110. Now, as an example, at the top here, if I type in homework, now any of my annotations that have the word homework in them will be easily found. So that could be exam, could be Mrs. Smith's surprise test she's going to have in term 2, whatever thing that is easy for that student or teacher to try to search for. Those keywords really add quite a lot of value. Now you may notice that there is a bit of a color on this as well. So there's a common color wheel throughout all your annotations. So not just for personalizing, and if we're really lucky and students are really organized, always have fingers crossed, then there is another way to filter as well. For example, I go over to filter here and I go by color, and let's pick red. And now any of the annotations that I've got here on the right hand side that were either with exam or study or something like that, they're marked in red. Something else might be marked in blue, whatever that looks like. But that's just a little tip to try to keep those annotations in some form of order and very easily accessible. So moving on, I've got underlines. This is where I've underlined a piece of text. As you can see here, it's grabbed that text and it's chucked it over to the right-hand side here. Again, I've got my keywords. And what's important is to make sure you add context to those annotations. Otherwise, all you've done is put a big red line under a bunch of text. Moving on, same deal here. So this is shapes. Could be a square, rectangle, a star. There's a new number of different types of shapes. But again, without adding some context to this, that's just a big rectangle on a page. So here, again, I've written decision making, exam, study, so some keywords there and some informational context about what this annotation stands for. Moving on, I have made an attempt to write the words study this chapter with my mouse. This is pen and touch sensitive, so if there are any devices that support a pen input, students can and teachers can write throughout the product as well. But here is like a note for a note, because on the right hand side, this is where we've added some context to that note. Moving on, same deal here. Put a really big circle around a heading and put a big purple arrow. Doesn't mean a lot unless I've got context. So again, some keywords here and a little bit of context as to why I've made that type of annotation. Moving on is a rich note. So this is where you can embed content and also from external sources. Could be a link. In this case, I've got a YouTube video you can see there. And if you are a teacher, you do have the ability to share that either to one student, multiple students, whatever that might look like. But you can share that around the school and moderate it and manage it yourself as that teacher. Now, if I highlight an area of text, we have built in the immersive reader. So this is for students, any students with any learning challenges or English as a second language. Go onto the immersive reader here. I won't go too much detail here, but hopefully you can see what this looks like. And this will read the content out loud. Now, this is where students or teachers can change the text itself and into whatever reading preference they would like that in. Different fonts, background color, whatever might work. There are some grammar options in there as well. And moving over the reading preferences, and this is quite a common one, changing it to a single line read. So it will read out loud, or the students can follow along with just reading one line at a time. Now, there is the ability as well to change language. So if you've got students that English isn't the first language, considering the Olympics is on at the moment, let's go with French. And if I pick a word, then you can see it in French. Clicking on that will also say that word out loud in French, much better than I would attempt to do it. And also you can change the entire document. Moving back from the immersive reader, a really key tool that we've built in at the top right hand corner here is it's a deep link. So if you're a teacher and you've got a class plan set up, now no doubt they don't teach from page 1 to 500. So if you've got a class plan or you're using a learning management system, this gives you the ability to take this link and either embed that page in a learning management system, or at least take that link and put it throughout the class plan wherever that teacher is trying to get to the particular resource. So then when a student clicks on it, jumps all the way through, opens up the product and straight into this page. So it's saving the clicks and making it much easier to navigate through to the product. Okay, so how are we going for time? All right, so That's in a nutshell the MyConnect 2 experience. Now, more often than not, when we're provisioning and setting this up, it's setting up all your staff with all the resources that are being taught throughout the school, not being super prescribed and specific to just a humanities teachers only getting access to humanities resources. It's a wider open platform than that, which also enables things like CRT, relief staff, anyone to just get in and go. So I hope you found this valuable. If you'd like further information, of course, contact Susanna, myself. We'll happily have a deeper dive into it. I'll go a little bit slower, and we can get a bit more information out. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was brilliant, in a lot of information in a very efficient and succinct manner. So really appreciate that. All right, so next up we have Christine Devine, who is the Sales Director at Cambridge. Hi, Christine. And
hi, everyone.
We'll just work our magic and get you up on screen.
Okay, all right. Excuse my Band-Aid. I had some surgery today that I didn't know I was having, so I will just share my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
Great. And I just go from the beginning there. Now you can see that. Great. All right, welcome everyone. I just want to hide that. All right. Okay. So look, yes. Where is it? All my notes have all hidden. Just let me go down there. Okay. Thanks, Susanna and Paul, and a big thank you to Campion for having us here today to present. We've worked very closely with Campion and have done so for a very long time. And our joint goal is to provide students and teachers with the best learning experience. I've worked in schools before, and I am quite aware of students losing their password and I don't remember it, I can't, where is it? So just single sign-on capability is just a one-stop shop for teachers and students. So my name is Christine Devine, and I'm the Sales Director at Campion. At Cambridge, but I have been in the field for many years, and I have met a lot of you teachers out there showing all our products. So just quickly, I've put up on the screen our CambridgeGo platform. This is our central platform for where we deliver all our teaching and learning products. And this has the single sign-on capability for Campion customers. We integrate our courseware through this platform, and also it has all the downloadable materials, and we have an offline reader. But today I'm excited to show you a new feature that we have launched this year for our 7 to 10 maths series, the diagnostic assessment tool. Now I'll show you what it can do with the new tool and how you can find support for using it with your class. Keep in mind that this tool is also going to be, it will filter into our science resources as well. So schools using Cambridge Maths New South Wales, 3rd edition, have already started using this tool as we implemented 7 and 9 last year, and we're moving to 8 and 10 this year. And Essential Maths to the Australian curriculum in South Australia, ACT and Queensland are also using the new diagnostic tool. But what's really exciting is that now it is coming soon for our Essential Maths to the Victorian curriculum, 3rd edition, and it will also be included in our Essential Maths core series, which will be published next year. Now, also, this tool is included with our online teaching platform. So it's not an add-on, it doesn't cost any more money, it is there with all the other extra features that you currently receive in our maths products. So it's a new level of assessment. You can use the diagnostic assessment and reporting tool to identify gaps in student knowledge across one student or the whole class. You can see there, you can see individual students or the whole class if they're struggling. So what can you do? You can create your tests from a bank of 5,000 levelled questions from each bank. So you have pre-tests and mid-tests. So there's pre, mid and post, and there's 5,000 questions in the pre and mid-test bank, and there's 5,000 in the post-test. Now those questions have all been written by our authors They're not in the textbook. They're not in our test generators. They have been completely written for this new tool. Teachers can manually select questions to include in the test using the search fields. You can choose from the curriculum outcomes or the textbook. So you can see that here. You can choose the chapter, the section. Now you can choose this yourself, or you can use a wizard, which I'll show you. And here it will show you the level of question that you've chosen, the outcome and the skill. And then you can add those questions across to the test. Then you may want to get some more questions, so you can choose another section in your textbook, look for a different skill, search more of these questions and add them to the test. So that's the manual way of doing it, or you can use the wizard to choose the test questions. And you can pick from a difficulty ratio, mostly easy or medium, balanced mixed, or mostly medium and some hard. Now I'm going through this very quickly, but keep in mind, my team are on the ground out in schools every day, going through how to use our maths resources. And we're quite happy to do demos online or come into the classroom. Just speak to Campion, and we work very closely with Campion all the time. So you can see here, you can choose that if you want a mostly medium, you just click on that. You can either have the textbook or curriculum view, and it will automatically pick the questions for you if you've picked those skills there. So we move on. Teachers have the flexibility to create their tests using the textbook view or the curriculum view, which is very, very handy. And there it is there. So then you create a family of tests to cover your required unit of work. You can choose to have as many pre or mid tests as you need to cover the unit of work. You might want to cover a few textbook sections or a whole chapter of content. It doesn't matter how many pre-tests you do. So you assign your tests online to be auto-marked, or you can assign it to one class or multiple classes. And to get a really good result across the grade, you could set it right across the grade, of course. So what can you do here? You can assign it, you can copy the test, you can share it with your other teachers, you can archive it, of course, till next year. You can also print the test, and then you will be supplied an answer key. But of course, if you print the test, it will not be auto-marked. So once your students have completed a pre or mid test, you can view their results and identify their gaps across the mathematical skill or for an individual student. So you can see there under that skill, there's those 4 students there have a lower score. You can select the skills your students need to improve and assign follow-up work. A wizard function is also available to choose the skills for you. So follow-up work can also be assigned within the interactive textbook. Now, don't forget, in that interactive textbook, every example has a video in our maths books. Every example has a video and a now you try question. So there's lots and lots of help in there as well for the student. So follow-up work, students can click through each item in the follow-up work through this widget here. So they can click here, you can see that they've got what could I do to improve my skills, and this is what they've got to do. These are these exercise questions, and they can just click on it to see where they're up to. At the end of your unit of work, you can test your students again with the system-generated post-test. Now, questions are drawn from a twin bank of questions so that the same skills are being tested, but not the same questions. So all the same skills will be tested, but not the same questions. So there's another 5,000 questions in those post-test questions. A suite of 6 reports is available to report on your class performance. Each report is also available for export, so results by question, result by skill, test comparison, student performance, score versus time taken, and growth versus attainment. So there's really some great reports here. Export the results by question as a CSV file to get the data converted to zeros. and ones. You can easily identify gaps in knowledge across individual students or the whole class. The whole class hasn't got that skill there, so it's really just a quick that report's a quick look at the whole class. Then you can run a test comparison report after your students have completed the post-test to view their growth. And on this one here, you would be able to click on these dots and the students' names will pop up there. This is also a great report, and you can use this for parent-teacher interviews to see individual student performance. You can also export the data set for these two reports. Each dot will represent the pre and post test. So how do I learn more about the diagnostic tool? So as I said, we are all available to come out to your schools to demonstrate. We demonstrate our maths products all the time, and this is our main platform on Edgen where you find our interactive maths textbooks. And if I just gave you a quick rundown on the left-hand side of the page, and this is for our science books as well. You've got our interactive textbooks there. You can send messages to your students. You've got the reporting functionality, and that's apart from this diagnostic tool. This reporting functionalities for all the other great features. You've got the task manager there. You can set a quick task or a directed task for your students. You've got the assessments, which is the test generator, which everyone loves. The teachers have loved that for many years. You've got the competitions. You've got the new diagnostic tool, and everything for the diagnostic tool will be found in that area. You've got a maths dictionary, some maths games. You've got the PDF of the textbook. You've got more hot maths too, and I don't know if a lot of teachers are aware of this, but this more hot maths is there to help you with your revision of, say you have year 7 students, year 6 students can use this. It's got access from 3 through to 6 hot maths, and there's a lot of great material there, and it is even good for teachers' aids. There's lots of worksheets, everything for teachers and students to use there. Teacher resources, all our downloadable resources are found here. More chapter tests, editable chapter tests, and quizzes. So there's lots more stuff there, programming, etc. This is where you manage your classes, and you can manage your bookmarks, which you can bookmark your interactive textbook. So you can find out more information about how to use the diagnostic tool in the help button on the left-hand side of this screen here. And there's videos, heaps of support pages. We have a dedicated person working on all our videos and support pages, and she does a wonderful job. If you're logged into our CambridgeGo page, you can get all the support you need here. If you're not logged in, you can still get support. So anytime you need more support, just let Campion know. And as I said, we work very closely with our major partner, and we're more than happy to help you with anything you need.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christine. That was really good. And yeah, any queries, we do certainly work closely with Cambridge as well as our many other partners. And yeah, any queries we'd love to hear from you. So we'll keep moving. Feels a bit like speed dating. Let's move on to Oxford. So we have Adam, who is the Channel and Sales Enablement Manager, and Caitlin, Education Consultant, I think is joining as well. Hey, AJ, how are you?
Apologies, I was muted. Hi, Susanna, thanks for having us.
Hi, everyone.
And thanks for introducing myself and Caitlin. Righto, so I'll just share my screen here. Alrighty, can everyone see my screen there? Susanna, can you see that? Beautiful. Thank you very much. Look, thank you for having myself and Caitlin today. Today we were very pleased to be joining you to introduce you to our new Oxford Maths 7 to 10 Victorian Curriculum Series, which is hosted on our brand new Oxford Digital platform. So we'll be showing you the Oxford Maths series as well as our new platform, which is very exciting for everybody. So I'll firstly just outline some of the features that are specific to our maths series, and then we'll move on to the Oxford Digital platform itself and do a bit of a walkthrough there. So the new series is written to the new Victorian Maths curriculum and comes in the form of a fully print and digital interactive online program. Featuring the highly visual module opening spreads. They list the topics, they also list the prerequisite skills, provide the curriculum links and list any materials required during the sessions. Our diagnostic pre-tests assess students' ability level for each prerequisite skill and group students into one of 3 ability levels based on their performance. So I'm just going to, for some reason I can't see my notes here. That's okay, I'll just wing it. So the online diagnostic tests assess the students' ability level and then put them into their own personalised learning pathways. They also assign interactive skill sheets based on the gaps in their prerequisite knowledge. Learning intentions are provided for each topic in plain English, and we have inter-year links provided to help support differentiation. So actually allowing teachers to assign work from different year levels based on need, whether that be extension or support from students that need support getting to the new levels. Computational thinking projects are also included with pseudocoding gradually introduced as we go through to help students get to the levels they're required in upper school. We also have worked examples throughout, and for every single worked example, we have a video. So we have full video coverage for every single worked example throughout the book. And we've actually been able to do that with through our unique partnership with ClickView. So we've worked with ClickView to create and embed more than 350 brand new key content videos. That's one video for every lesson in every book to cover every content description in the Victorian Curriculum 2.0. Each video is designed to cover the content, engage students, revise content and support flexible and remote learning. And we're very excited to announce that these new Maths 7 to 10 resources, as well as our new Queensland QCE upper school resources, will be hosted on our brand new Oxford Digital platform, which has been completely upgraded for 2025. The new platform features accessible web-based experience with thousands of images, videos, quizzes, planning, marking, and reporting functionality to allow teachers powerful analytics so they can analyse student performance and engagement. One of the most amazing features that we are very excited about is our brand new live lesson mode. So the live lesson mode allows teachers to actually create live lessons, invite students online and pick from curated resources based on the particular topic they're teaching, so that teachers can actually track student engagement, performance and progress as they go. So think of it like a bit of a Kahoot lesson. We've actually allowed that within our brand new Oxford Digital platform, which is very exciting. Now I'm going to hand over to Caitlin now. So she's going to take us for a quick tour of the new Oxford Digital platform. Over to you, Caitlin. I believe you can boot me out if you share your screen.
Yeah, thanks so much, AJ. Everyone can see my screen.
I can, yep.
Right. Amazing. All right. So quickly jumping into our new online platform. For anyone that has seen the Oxford Digital platform in the past, you'll know that it essentially was a flat PDF e-reader with some great resources and videos included. This is a brand new, being built from scratch, HTML reflowable platform which allows you to use it on your tablet, on your phone. Kids can quickly look something up, and it just has a much smoother layout. Nothing is going to get lost. Here you've got your home button taking you back to your library, your course content, which is similar to allowing you to go through a contents page, your resources, assigned work, reporting and analytics. You've got these nifty little tools. You're able to make notes throughout and highlight. You can bookmark pages or spreads as you go along. You can look things up in the Oxford English Dictionary without having to leave the platform, because we know that's an issue in the classrooms where you're leaving the platform altogether and then getting distracted. Font size, so really changing up our accessibility, allowing for large or smaller font size, and a read to me function within the platform itself. And the Desmos calculators, we've always had them included, and we've made sure that they are still within the platform. We'll jump into a module, which we previously called chapters. When you hear me say module, you know I'm talking about chapters. You can see it from a slide or single page view. So if you would prefer to just be able to see everything on one page, or you'd prefer to just see it in small chunks, it's up to you. You can navigate through the next button or through any thing on the right-hand side for you. When you do jump in, you'll see straight away that diagnostic pretest that AJ noted at the start, and they allow the students to electronically go in, do these diagnostic pretests, and then see how they're going with those prerequisite skills that they may need before going into that module itself. So it won't have anything to do with the module included. They can go through, see these interactive skill sheets. They will be assigned to them automatically if in the diagnostic pretest it notices that they need a little bit of work in any of these areas. But as a teacher, you can also assign it to your entire class or particular students that you think might need some help. We have the lesson plans. So the lesson plans can be downloadable. They're an editable document that you're able to download. However, you're now able to download them digitally, which is just an incredible feature. In your summary, there's teacher considerations, so any potential difficulties or differentiation that you might come across, because we realise that it's not only the differentiation of the students within your classroom, but you might have teachers in your classroom that are not math trained teachers. So really important that we give you some tips there, some guidelines on how long we think things will take within the classroom. And then you can customize that yourself by hiding things. You'll even be able to reorder things and add things of your own. So even if they're not an Oxford resource, you're able to add that into your lesson plan so that you can use it throughout your activity, and even some suggested homework activities. Once you press done, you're able to go straight to your live lesson. You can select your class. So if you have multiple Year 7 classes, for example, you can select the class that you're teaching, choose to send an email link if you wish, or simply press live lesson. It will open up another page for you. You simply open it back up and you've got this unique code. This will allow students to just be able to join their live lesson. You'll be able to see directly who is and isn't in the class. Of course, you'll have people absent, I'm sure, but then also the possibility of kids just not listening. Once you jump into the live lesson, you've got the ability to roll call, so get anyone else to join into the class, and then your lesson as you directed it. You can unlock activities so that the kids can't jump too far ahead, or if you prefer for them to jump ahead, you can unlock them. These key content videos are in the partnership with ClickView that AJ was discussing. They're right at the top of your theory. Everything is in small chunks and easy to read. All the supplementary videos for the worked examples. Again, if you're not a math trained teacher, this will help you in the classroom be able to explain how to work through those worked examples. Once you're ready to end that live lesson, you've got the opportunity to do all your students, some of your students, the students that attended, or even the students that were absent, and select what work you'd like them to do. So you might say, well, we didn't get round to watching these 2 videos, so I'd like you to do that. And then let's do some pre-work before we jump into lesson point 2 next week. You can send an email notification, set an end date, and then simply assign it to your students. You can go back and assign different things to different sets of students as well before ending the live lesson. We've got an amazing set of resources. This easily just pops in and out from the page you're at. You're not having to reset or re-find where you were in the platform. This shows you this lesson's resources. You can see all resources for the entire book, or you can see resources for an entire module or, like I said, chapter. This allows you to search for resources, search by type, search by a particular lesson, and allows you to use these 3 little dots to copy the link, make it a favorite because it's something you want to watch again, or make it easy to find, download, or even assign directly from here. You're also able to download all downloadable resources within the text all at once. So rather than going through and downloading them for your LMS individually, you can use it all together. Simply closing that, you can even click videos, and here you'll see your favorites down here. Then we're able to, if I just jump back out and jump into the book, we're able to jump into the reporting section. So this reporting section, those diagnostic pre-tests, this will show you exactly how they're going in those skills. If you look at the skill sheet itself, it will even show you how those interactive skill sheets that were assigned have been going with your students. We've got an assessment report that goes through how the assessment is going in each of the checklist, the pre-test, the midpoint test, and the final review. You can see it at a top level or look at it even deeper and looking at it per student, per module, and see how each of your students are going throughout the text. The curriculum report will allow you to go through the curriculum strands one by one and give you in-depth notification of how they're going. That's a really quick overview of our platform, but hopefully it shows you how much improvement and how much work we've put into making sure that it's meeting all of your needs within the classroom. What I would love to go...
Yeah, Caitlin, I'll just, we do need to
wrap
up,
that's
if that's okay.
No,
so thank you so much.
No, that's all right. Let me put this page up. If anyone needs any of our numbers, they're all there for you.
Yep, and of course, people can always come in through their Campion rep, and we'll get in touch as well. So that was super, Caitlin. Thank you.
Thanks
and
so
AJ,
much.
do love a good pre-test. Really nice to see the work you've done in the platform. So thank you very much, Oxford.
Thank you.
We'll jump without pause over to Cengage Nelson. We should have Kerry Thomas, our Digital Partnership Manager here. Hey, Kerry.
Hi, hello everybody. How you going?
Handing on over.
Excellent. Okay, so it's a long day, isn't it? And to listen to all this information at once too. So I'm trying to keep it to the things that make us different, separate us from others, because it's hard to make these decisions. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a bit of a PowerPoint depending on time. I do know that we're already behind time, so I'm going to try and be speedy. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen. And I've now lost you, Susanna, so I'm hoping that you'll interrupt me if you can't see anything, whatever I'm seeing.
All good, Kerry, can see it.
Awesome. Brilliant. Okay, so Nelson Cengage, you'll hear Cengage said a lot, but in secondary land we are Nelson. Today we're looking particularly at 7 through to 10. And so I'm sort of doing a more general one rather than just on maths, because I'm sure there's some other people here as well. So just going through our offering. So at the moment we're in a transition phase. So we have 2 platforms running. That's NelsonNet and Nelson MindTap. Now Nelson MindTap, whoops, accidental press the button, is our new platform, and it's quite different. So we're different to others, and we certainly know that. But part of the difference is that we can offer some things that perhaps others don't offer as well. But we still have all the things that you want. And most publishers do. Let's be honest. We all have our platforms. We all have our teacher resources. We have our trusted authors, all those sort of things. So it's a one-stop shop. And just like most, you can pretty much teach your whole lesson from Nelson MindTap should you want to. Now, I'll go into more details if that makes more sense. But before I do that, just wanted to let everybody know that we are accredited with our Safer Schools for Technologies. And I know from talking to all my IT people and all my schools that this is super important. The privacy of your students and your teachers and the platform, all the things to do with digital in schools that you have to be concerned from. We certainly looked at that and ticked the boxes. So we are accredited with Safer Technologies for Schools, just for your information. Moving on to our 2 different platforms. So as I said, we are in a little bit of a transition phase. So NelsonNet or Nelson MindTap, which is it? Well, at the moment, they both exist. NelsonNet is probably the platform that you already know. And in general, so there are some exceptions, titles prior to 2024 are most probably in this platform. Nelson MindTap is available for selected titles that were published in 23 and this year, and new titles coming. So to put that into context, for example, a lot of our LOTE titles, or pretty much all our LOTE titles, you will find currently in Nelson Net, although there were some exciting things to come for you there. 7 to 10 Victorian titles like Fit for Life for the Victorian curriculum, that's in Nelson Net. And New Century Maths, for example, if we're talking about new editions, so for our New South Wales customers, then it's in Nelson MindTap in this new edition, but currently the previous editions would have been in Nelson Net. And I've somehow missed out Australian curriculum on there. So some of our Australian curriculum titles that we have, especially for each state, like for Queensland and WA, they'll be in Nelson MindTap. So if that all sounds confusing, I don't blame you, but that's why we have our Campion reps and why you have all your all your Nelson people to help you with that too. So all your learning consultants for sure can help you for which platform you need. So I know that you can't all see this and write this all down, so I know that there is also a recording of this, but just to let you know, for our new titles in 20 and 25, 24 and 25, and in particular we are publishing for Queensland, WA, New South Wales and some Victorian titles, but in 7 to 10 we're looking at these states, and you'll see they're finishing and completing off New Century Maths, which is our very popular series. And also we have Science and Maths in New South Wales. We're having Science for 2025. Queensland, you'll see Maths, Science, and in general. So pretty much all for this Australian curriculum, depending on when your state is moving and when you're actually adopting your version of the new Australian curriculum. So if we get back to the nitty-gritty of Nelson MindTap and what it allows you to do, here's just a little summary for you. So one of our big features is that you can customize your program. So within the digital side of Nelson MindTap, you can arrange chapters, you can hide content, you can hide sections of content, you can rename things, you can add things in. Basically, you can make your subject your own. So as a teacher, I know that certainly when I was teaching Year 7 Science and Maths, I didn't follow the line of the book, and we would jump in and out, and sometimes we do different things altogether or embrace sections of the book that sometimes other schools didn't do. And what you have the ability with our platform to do is make it look your own. So you're making your bespoke digital book for your school, and you can rename things and all things like that, but just show bits and pieces as you want it to be. So if you open your textbook and chapter 1 is not where you start, in your digital book you can rearrange that and have it exactly the order in which you want it to be. Now it's a big thing and a little thing in that students like uniformity. They like to know the direction they're going. You all know this just as well as I do. So simple things like how things are arranged and presented makes a big difference. I like the fact that you can hide things. For all my students that get overwhelmed by a whole book and how am I ever going to get through all that, you can do bits and bobs, just little pieces at a time, release it slowly so they have that feeling of achievement. Differentiation, very important. Our New South Wales customer, I know it's a huge focus for you, and of course it's a focus for every state, but the ability to assign questions, content, create groups, do all those things where you choose who gets what, and that personalisation of that learning is certainly possible through the Nelson Map platform. Like others, we allow you to assign work and to view the work that they've done. And of course, you need that all to come back to you so you can see what's been assigned. Did they do that homework? Can I move on? All that information comes back to you either via our reports section or our gradebook section. We have, in addition to what you would find in the textbook, on the digital platform, you have extra material, so extra worksheets, tests, videos, all sorts of different activities. All those different things depend on which book we're talking about. So, of course, we have some great partner videos with Trig, for example, for science. It just depends which particular subject we're talking about, what's in what. Now, we all know that it's important that you have your teaching resources. All publishers produce a textbook, or publishers do lots of different things, but teaching resources are also something that you will all be looking for, and the way you can use that, whether it's editable, does it provide what you need. And absolutely, for those teachers teaching outside of their subject area, I know for myself, I had to teach Japanese with only one term of Japanese myself, maths when I hadn't taught maths, all sorts of different things. This is where these teacher resources are super important. And the way we organise our program is so that if you do customise your program, the teacher resources and all those different activities go with it. You don't have to go searching for it. If you change it around, they're all locked together. And of course, your entire course has all that content that you know that Nelson has always provided with you. You're a long-standing publisher like many, but it's all in the one place, all your resources, all your text, everything in one place, and importantly, without stepping outside of that platform. So that leads me to, why should you choose us? Why should you look at Nelson instead of other publishers? We have our experienced authors, the ones that you know and love, the people that have been doing this for a long time, and there's a reason why you come to them. You know the material's good, you know it's aligned to the content. We have exceptional teacher support material, and we have digital. But this is things that other publishers have too. So I'm not going to sit here and say that's all we have it and nobody else does. We certainly have that, and many of our teachers are very attached to our authors, and we're thankful for that, and good reason why, because they're top notch. But we have a couple of other things that separate us from the others, as I've already alluded to. And so I would ask you, do they offer you that customization feature? I think it's super important in year 7 to 10, and it's very rare that you would go from front to back of a textbook and use every single chapter. You like to have that ability. Whilst you do have to tick the boxes for a curriculum, you have more space here to move with your needs and the looks of your, not looks, I suppose I'm saying, the direction that sometimes our classes take us, and we just want to follow with them and go that way. We have a little bit more leeway, whereas in VCE or QCE or all our senior subjects, we have very prescribed text, and we have to make sure they have every single little bit of that information so they're not in any way disadvantaged when it comes to their assessments. So when you have the ability to change things around a bit more and to make them look like it is for your school, there's nothing better than having a resource that does exactly what you want it to do in your school, and importantly, looks like what you're doing in your classroom. Students open it. There's not pages or sections where you're not going to look at things. You can customize it and make it completely the way you want. And importantly, you can customize for different sections. So you might have a year 7 science class, you might customize it for the general population, but you might have 2 other groups where you want to change it up a little bit for them. So that might be extension students, where you might add sections in. It might be students that need a little extra help, where you're going to add some web links and other things into that book that is especially for them. Importantly, it goes out to each student, and they don't necessarily need to know what the student next to them, which book they're working from. And so it solves some of those problems that brings as well. Next one is
Kerry,
something.
I'm so sorry. We are running out of time now, Kerry. Did you want to just wrap up and say any final pieces?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to show this one thing. Sorry, I thought I was looking at my time. I'll just show, for example, this customization one here. I'm not going to go into the platform, but basically you can see this is this way we've done it. Now I've customized it, I put changes in, I've changed an order of different things. And the other thing I really want to show you is literacy, which is a huge problem in our science texts. We have modified text. If you haven't seen this, you need to talk to your LC. It is a game changer. I am a science teacher. This makes me super excited. What we have done is not dumb down the science. We've surrounded the words of the science, so the science literacy side, with things that are, or language that's more accessible. So you can see in those two different examples there, simpler, more difficult, present tense, shorter sentences. The best way to see this is talk to your LC or to your Campion rep to see it. But please, in the words of Molly Meldrum, do yourself a favour. We don't have time. Make sure you talk to one of us. Here's a lot of people, but talk to Campion. And yeah, this is me. So you're always welcome to reach directly out to me as well. So Fantastic. It looks like we're out of time, and that's me.
Thank you so much, Kerry. Great to see where the platform's going at the moment. So,
yeah,
and cool. We'll keep moving forward. And next up, we have Alison Welsh, who's the Key Account Manager at Pearson. Hi, Alison. Welcome.
Hi, Susanna. Hi.
Let's see your screen.
Excellent. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We did have a brilliant presenter who was going to dazzle you with his expertise, but unfortunately he's very unwell, so you have me instead. My name is Alison Welsh. I'm an ex-teacher and an education enthusiast who loves anything that makes life easier. I look after WA, South Australia and Northern Territory secondary schools for all their Pearson resources. And joining me today to assist is Julia Shaw from Melbourne, who's our National Manager for Secondary Education and also my boss. Okay, I have a very short 8 minutes to introduce you to Pearson's new Secondary Teaching Hub, and I want to start with the drive behind its creation, otherwise known as the why. We work with teachers very closely, and we're constantly seeking their feedback about how we can support them to achieve more and stress less. Some of the feedback we've received has been that they need digital, but they still want print. So we need to create a seamless resource that provides the best of both worlds. They need quality content written for the Australian curriculum by expert teachers who make best practice easy. So we called on the best authors and engaged them in our rigorous content creation process to deliver the quality resources that Pearson is known for. And they needed differentiated content to cater for the range of abilities in the classroom today. So we created a flexible digital resource that facilitates teacher-led differentiation. So what is the Teaching Hub? It's a resource hub that covers years 7 to 10 and almost all versions of the Australian curriculum across Australia. It includes blended resources of print and digital and was created with the First Nations Advisory Board in collaboration with teachers and students. It's very excitingly now available for trial or purchase. And today I'm going to overview science and maths resources in the hub for you and then give you a little sneak peek at the digital platform at the end. Okay, so starting with science. If you're a current fan of Pearson Science, you may be wondering what's coming up next. And if not, you might want to start a trial and see what the fuss is all about. The Science Suite consists of the Teaching Hub Science Print Companions, and coming in 2025, a further addition to the offer, a full colour student textbook. Pearson Science 3rd edition for the Australian curriculum, and for the first time ever, Pearson Science for the Victorian curriculum, both powered by the Teaching Hub. The purpose of the student textbook is all about giving you flexibility in how you teach. We know what works for one class won't work for another, and what we're hearing from teachers is that they are trying to minimise digital distraction in the class. So utilising textbooks and other print resources for some of the class time is of high value. So what's in the Teaching Hub? To summarise this and at a high level in science, I'm just going to have a look at some of the numbers. There are 27 topics across 7 to 10, 441 lessons and over 3,000 auto-correcting questions, 130 videos supported by ClickView, a huge range of Spark activities, skill builders, worked examples and worksheets. And we plan to continue to grow this. We've kept our in situ teaching notes accessible in the platform, so you've got support and guidance every step of the way. How much does this all cost? Surely it's very expensive. No. The introductory pricing for our science resources would be hard to beat at $28.95 for student digital access and $19.95 for the student print companions. Teachers receive access free when the school adopts the teaching hub. And what about the maths? Introducing Pearson Maths 3rd edition, powered by the Pearson Secondary Teaching Hub for Australian curriculum. As with the science learning area, you'll find content authored from scratch to meet the Australian curriculum, using current and the most effective pedagogical and instructional practices. The platform is complemented by Pearson Maths 3rd edition student book, available both as a physical textbook and an ebook, as well as the student companion, which is a write-in workbook. All content is written and delivered to support you to teach your students your way. And the pricing for maths. For the maths resources, we have a digital-only annual subscription of $49.95, which includes the backup ebook. The optional student print companion, again, this is a write-in resource for students to use offline and is only $19.95. There will be a student textbook available for 2025 back to school, which comes in a bundle at $69.95. And now it's time for a sneak peek look at the platform. Now I've got this in video, so we weren't risking anything here.
The search and browse functions. The new content from Link 7 class.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop it there. That's probably enough of a teaser of the platform. You get the idea and you've seen a little bit of it. I've just received a message from Julia to say that I forgot to mention that we also do Victorian curriculum maths. So apologies, we do have that as well. So where to from here? If you would like to speak to one of our team, there is a consultant in your state. I cover, as I said, WA, Northern Territory, South Australia, and Julia covers Victoria and Tasmania, but we also have Queensland and New South Wales reps. We are all very happy to help you. I've popped my email address and Julia's email address on the screen there if anyone has any immediate questions. But at the moment, we're doing trials for the Teaching Hub, which you can jump into Pearson Places, click on a tile and launch it yourself. We would love your feedback as you go through that process. So that really helps us to develop and continue to shape the product. So thank you very much, Campion, for your time. All the Campion representatives are extremely supportive, and they are all over the Teaching Hub as well. So they're happy to help.
They are. Thank you so much, Alison and Julia. And absolutely, any queries about that, please do reach out to your Campion account manager, who will put you in touch with the right person. So coming up next, we've got a bit of a different format. I'm going to introduce Craig Dalsainter, who's the Managing Director from CyberPass and Raw. And we're going to do this one, I think, as a bit of a Q&A. So also introducing Stephen Archibald, who is a man of several hats, but Campion can be one of them. How we're going to keep you two on time, I don't know. So if you see me going like this, it means you've talked too much. Okay.
Thanks, Susanna and Steve. Just checking that you can see my screen okay there.
Yeah, we can see your screen there, Craig. No problems.
Brilliant. How are you, Stephen?
Yeah, not too bad. So I think was someone just led into this little chat a little bit easier by mentioning the cyber security and the fact that most schools are pretty much trying to keep on top of cyber security these days. So it's a good lead into your product there, Craig, about how your product could help students, and particularly in the lower years, educate their students on cybersecurity. So I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. It's a tricky one, especially for secondary schools to actually take the feed of a lot of different students coming in into their under their auspice in grade 7. So outside of the new digital technologies curriculum, I mean, and just the requirement for online safety, first and foremost, we have a duty of care to protect the kids within our under our supervision. And whilst negative incidents involving the use of students' use of technologies rarely involve the school infrastructure, it's mainly private devices. I think anybody who's worked in schools know that it's always the finger gets pointed at the schools, rightly or wrongly, and usually wrongly. So. And regardless, I mean, even if the school's not at fault or anything like that, the actual effect on the school community can be quite dramatic and incredibly damaging in reputation and all sorts of things. So we were one of the first online safety, digital literacy resources to be accredited by the Australian e-Safety Commissioner, so as a trusted e-safety provider. There's quite a few now. A lot of them are doing workshops, whereas in schools versus what we do, which is more of an assessment of where your school and your students are at. So as I was saying, particularly at years 7 and 8, we have students arriving from unknown levels of digital literacy. And they are a bit of an unknown. We don't know where they're sitting. I mean, some kids have a high exposure to digital technologies and are very versed with it. But then in other areas, you have children who might be incredibly well versed with the technology, but actually don't have the social maturity. And we also take on very much a digital citizenship approach to that. So what CyberPass does is that we basically set a minimum digital competency level by assessing your students. Each student has their own login. So how do we do that? We have across the year 7 version of this 86 competencies that we assess, broken up into. We're looking at rejuggling the way that we actually break up the 86 competencies into maybe half a dozen modules rather than 8. So we look at settings. Obviously, device settings are really important. Kids are using their mobile phones. We're probably getting a mobile phone at grade 7, grade 8. Privacy issues relating to sharing, but also settings as well. This is a really key one that we find students low down. That is actually the ability to actually interrogate the internet and find information. Sharing is always a problem because it's a bit of oversharing, and I think many parents and teachers are also guilty of that. We all overshare a little bit too much online. Playing, gaming, talking, communicating, friends in all sorts of aspects of online and social media, and transacting online. So very quickly, I'll just show you what's privacy. So you go into a quiz. We'll work through some interactive questions. We've got about 8 different sort of activity types. So everything you post online, past, present, and future, is called your digital what. So this is building that digital literacy around footprint. So yes, I get positive feedback, and I'd get negative not. Which of these are okay to share with new online friends? Your home number, no phone numbers, mum's number, my sister's number. Yeah, I reckon my sister's phone number, so we put that out there. Oops, that's not right. So you're getting the gist is, and I won't do any more, is that it's actually assessing against each of the, we've got a minimum of 3, maybe 4 to 5 questions mapped to each of the 86 competencies. So it's a randomized quiz bank, so the 2 students doing it at the same time on different devices won't be getting the same questions. We can see where we're at. So in settings, I've got 4 questions remaining. So you can see that, actually I'll go back, sorry, and choose one where I've done a couple of turns. I think I did in this one. Yeah, in this one, for instance, out of the 12 questions, I got 3 incorrect. So that way in attempt 2, I'm given credit for the ones I got correct. So I only sit 3 questions in the second attempt, and you can see that I got 1 right. My second and third questions I got wrong. So I'll still be asked to come back and finish those 2 questions, albeit with randomized questions. We've got activities that support the identified gaps in their learning. There's videos. I'll just very quickly play you a few seconds. So this one looks at location. There's about 40 or 50 videos in there, all about a minute long.
Nearly all personal devices can tell your exact location when you're using them. This is really helpful most of the time for finding places, friends and family, or even a lost phone. But your location at any given time is also personal information, and you should think about.
Yeah, right. So it's talking about just be careful. The location's a great tool, but we look at each of the competencies, and I can go through a checklist to actually see just the sub-competencies there. So what we're really trying to achieve is like where are your students sitting at in that all-important first year or 2 as they arrive at your secondary school. Does that sort of help you there, Stephen?
Yeah, and Craig, can you actually see how the students are comparing, like how they're going in a sort of overview of either the student themselves or student?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely critical, because it's no use actually finding that a student is struggling and then nobody's out there looking. So as a teacher, I'm logged in as a teacher. I can go into my dashboard, and so for instance, I've got 10 students here, and I can see how they're going through. Sorry, none of these students have actually, my test students have done any, but I can see how they're progressing through. I can go down to, so this is a class level. I could go into that one, and this is a specific student, so say it's Julie Blogs. I can go in to see Julie and see how many attempts she's tried on each module, what percentage of completion. So if I'm seeing somebody who's done 4, 5, 6 attempts, then maybe it's time for me to step in and actually have a chat to Julie about what she's struggling with in that particular area. So that information's at the teacher's fingertips and only accessible by the teacher, or at an admin level across the school, where an person with admin privileges can see multiple classes, but that's all on a privilege basis. So yes, very much, Stephen. We've got to actually have that ability for a teacher to intervene if they're noticing a problem in a certain area.
And can you see how your school's going against other schools?
Yeah, what we did, we published this. You can imagine that with the number of, and I think this year we've had 1.9 million questions answered so far, because I mean, kids are, when they're logged into CyberPass, are constantly answering questions. So we get a fair bit of data on where students are at. So this is a free website that we publish, sosindex.com. So I can go into the essentials, which is our sort of middle years, and I can look at each of the modules. So let's take looking. I can go in there, and this is a really interesting one, identification of effective search skills. This dark blue line tells me that when students first make a first attempt at questions related to this competency, one of 86 competencies, only 16% were getting it correct. After they review the education resources, we still have a problem because, okay, we're up to 58%, but we've got 42% of children who are not able to put together a medium complex search on Google. So using the Boolean codes like the and, inverted commas and things like that, which is really interesting because obviously the internet is such an impressive resource. This one, selection of various signs to indicate a nature of risk, that's actually that sort of visual literacy where you're looking at a website. 48% of kids couldn't do that. Lots of advertising, lots of clickbait and all those sorts of things, couldn't understand that may not be a sign of a safe or site with much rigor and veracity to it. But what I'm very pleased to see is that on a second attempt, it's a clear development of understanding. So you can kind of see that this is aggregated national information data on all the students that have answered these 945,000 questions. So it's a pretty good sample set. So that means you can compare it. What I haven't done yet, Stephen, is actually automated within that dashboard where I could actually, and it'll be pretty easy for us to do, and we're working on it at the moment, is have a column when you're looking at your own students, is just to have a column about how their outcomes maybe on a class level or a school level compare to our national level, which will be on the similar age group and such.
Yeah, I think that's a real important bit of information for schools when they start to compare how they're going in their cohorts and so forth. So that's really good, Craig. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, good. All right, well, I hope that was nice and brief and to the point. So
it was perfect and succinct and both reassuring and faintly alarming in different ways, which is as a parent of teenagers, this kind of thing always makes me feel a bit sweaty. Not least about what I've clicked on, not to mention them. So thank you so much, Craig. Yeah. If anybody's interested in a deeper dive on CyberPass, then your Campion account manager would love to set you up for that.
Yes, sorry, I'd like to just mention Susanna and Stephen. More than happy. Please contact your Campion rep, but more than happy to give you trial logins and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Craig.
Right. Enjoy.
Much appreciated. All right. And lucky last, thank you to everybody who's made it through this far. So now we've got Kate Hargraves from MusicEDU.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me all okay? Fantastic. Just bringing up my presentation. Fantastic. So problems we see across music departments, not just here in Australia, but all around the world actually, is huge student differentiation, and probably classroom music contains the greatest degree of differentiation in terms of subjects than any other. And this is because students can learn a musical instrument from when they're very young. And by the time they're in, say, grade 7, for instance, we've got some professional level musicians in some classrooms, and also students who have potentially maybe never had the opportunity and they're complete beginners. And in all various ways across Australia. Music is compulsory at some point in middle school, and so often and more likely than not, those students are thrown in the classroom together, making it very difficult for teachers. And this can then lead to student disengagement. The students who are quite advanced often don't get extended. The students who are beginners will compare themselves to those other students and rule themselves out immediately, and then often behaviour and other things come into it. The curriculum irrelevance is something that we're super passionate about. We see it a lot, that the curriculum is often taught the same way it has been taught for a very long time, and we're all about innovating that. And most recently, we've seen a huge amount of teacher turnover in roles in music departments and teacher burnout. And that's something that we're very passionate about alleviating as well. With regards to limited budgets, and this is something that Campion is really helping us with. Music is an expensive subject to run. We appreciate that. And particularly with the staff turnover, we've seen that schools purchase gear and then it might sit there not getting used to its full potential. And music departments aren't always aware that they can book list the MusicEDU curriculum with Campion. So the solutions that we bring to these things are, our curriculum is designed so that every student can succeed from the outset, regardless of their musical ability. We have practical, ready-to-go scaffolding that will handle that wide differentiation that teachers face. And the creation and performance tasks use technology that level out the playing field. So we essentially become the glue between a school's computer hardware, their software, their musical instruments, and then the curriculum. And then at the same time, looking at the topics that the students really want to learn. The engagement really comes immediately. Teachers typically report an immediate lift in student engagement with our resources. And because we give them such flexibility in how they interface with the students, music's a very practical subject. We want that to continue. So the activities can be teacher-led, they can be student-led, they can be collaborative, remote, blended, or independent learning. So there's a huge amount of flexibility in the delivery models. Teachers regularly report that, to their surprise, that students who typically wouldn't engage with the subject are now succeeding, and students they hadn't noticed now showing interest, and we love to hear those reports. When it comes to the curriculum relevance, we really align with real world view of music. So that's essentially bringing topics like DJing, music for games, remixing, film and soundtrack, and immersive technologies into the music classroom. And we really, immediately see the results for schools who are wanting to increase those elective numbers as well. And typically we see an increase of over 100% in our schools into elective music, which is amazing. So in terms of teacher relief, having MusicEDU really provides a curriculum foundation regardless of teacher turnover. It can also mean that teachers are up and running with our curriculum immediately, and saves each teacher up to 400 hours a year in lesson planning and curriculum design time, which is quite phenomenal. And we have a continuous improvement model. So when a new trend comes in, we look at where we could fit that, what musical concepts need to be taught, and aligning that to the curriculum outcomes. Most importantly, we meet teachers where they're at. So whether they're tech geeks or tech dinosaurs, we don't mind. We look at what a school already has when it comes to gear, and that's really important. We really find a way to start with a school without having to go and spend a lot of money on upgrading other things if we can. So strategic purchase, when you've got this curriculum that is ready to go, it can really instill this confidence that the new gear or the current gear is going to be used. We have a implement and showcase model. So we'll look at what a school has, implement with what they've got, showcase it. Then if we need to, or if we want to introduce a new program like DJing, for instance, we can do that by getting that in the budget for the next school year and then immediately implementing it. And this is the model that then keeps going, fast tracking schools through their their goals essentially. So we'll typically take a school that will take 6 years to get to their technology and implementation goals and squash that down to about 2.5 years. This isn't going to work, but it will when you get a copy of it. So I'll push through. And one of the things we love doing is implementing digital portfolios with our schools. Music composition and creation can be quite difficult to showcase, and we work with digital portfolios to bring these ideas to life. Students will build websites, and in amongst everything that they're doing, they're also creating immersive technology experiences and AR experiences in some of the activities that we offer. And you can see here, this is a school that's got a young lady. She got up and showcased, she'd done a term of DJing. So this is from Rockhampton Girls Grammar up in far north Queensland. So DJ Abby, and after a term of DJing, she was able to get up and perform a set in front of the school community, which is fantastic. So essentially, a school gets access to our teaching and learning platform. They get access to everything, all 5 programs. There's 43 units or sessions in here, and they all have their own digital ebook, website resources, interactive ebooks with the backing tracks, the YouTube clips, everything's all included. We have a huge amount of sheet music, of arrangements of music all ready to go for the music classroom. And we have custom backing tracks and audio files as well. Probably one of our differentiating points is all the creation tasks that we have built in here in our platform. We have the software walkthrough videos in all the major softwares that the music departments will be using. So every music department has different software. So each of our projects has the videos for each of the different softwares. So this makes it super easy for the teachers to upskill, and also upskill and implement at the same time. So we don't have to send them off on to separate PD courses. There's a digital badging system, there's inbuilt teacher PD, there's lesson plans, suggested answers, assessment ideas, all the things that you would expect. And the teachers can mix and match and customize the student views. So no school uses it all. There's too much in there now for a school to use everything. And we do have unlimited support. So we are very hands-on in helping the school find their path and individualize their path through our resources, and that's really important to us. We don't want a cookie cutter music across all schools doing exactly the same thing. And I think that's one of my favorite things, is that no 2 schools use this the same way, and the results that come out of all the schools are just radically different, which is amazing and certainly super creative. We also have very flexible subscription options through Campion. Depending on how music is implemented at your school, it might be a term rotation, it might be a semester elective, or it might be 2 years of full year access. So we have those different options available, all are available book listed. As I mentioned before, a lot of music teachers and music departments aren't aware that they are even able to book list something like this, and they would love to have this resource, and they don't know how to go about having that conversation. So please feel free to get them involved, get your Campion rep involved. We also have a school-wide license. So if you are a K-12 school or a very large school, we have an unlimited student license available as well. I think that's it for me. How'd I go to squeeze that all in?
That was great, Kate. Sometimes I see a tech product and I think, wow, wouldn't that have been cool if I was back at school? Not so much the math stuff, but this is just fantastic. There was no DJing back in the day, I'll tell you that. Not at my school anyway.
Well, and you know, I'm a bit of a music snob. I wasn't sure that there would be any validity in DJing in the music classroom when we were first looking at it, and I was proven wrong. So I was more than happy to be proven wrong. And the schools that implement that, they're the ones that double their numbers. So
I bet.
you know,
I bet.
yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kate. And look, to our other presenters, particular thank you to Stephen, who's been running the tech side of things for this evening, and everyone who's made it this far. Really appreciate your time. And you'll start to see things on us from email over the next few days, attendance, PD certificates, and copies of the recording, and so on. And Kate will chat about and sort out a video and all the rest of it.
Fantastic.
So,
we'll see you at EduTech.
Yes, see you at EduTech. Anyone else who's popping along to EduTech, please let us know. We'd love to catch up with you there. All right. Good night, everybody, and yeah, catch you next time.